still with the players.
Andy, what's it like to prepare for this group of wide receivers?
Yeah, no question. You look to the left, you look to the right. It's going to be very challenging. But it's been that way, you know, and it is that way in this conference with the personnel that you line up against every single week. And that's the challenge that comes with being in this conference and playing here. And so thus far we've had one of our better weeks of practice. So we're hoping to improve on some techniques and fundamentals and be sharp on Saturday.
How much different is Graham Harrell from?
Yeah, same question. Yeah, right. So there is obviously there is some carryover. There are some similar concepts. There are some different things within the schematics of the offenses. I mean, the offense last week there was no tight end, right? There's obviously tight ends and stuff in this offense that we're facing. So there is definitely some schematics within the pass game that are similar. Yep.
Do you expect them to be a little bit more even passing oriented, given the just injuries of running back? Where I mean, those guys are declared out. There's not like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, they're out, no question. And you know, they got some guys. They got, you know, some younger running backs in there right now. Obviously, very very fast. But yes, in the last game they did go to a lot more spread, especially early on in the game. So we've got to be prepared.
What did you see from Drew in his first start there, and first time really on defense in place of Troy?
Yeah, there's no question. And for him to be able to step up and jump in there and do what he did against that offense, you know, where there's a lot of difficulties that obviously that offense poses in the one this week that we're facing. And so we're excited and proud of Drew for the job he was able to do to step in and you know, and help the team out. That was great. We obviously got to build a lot off of what he did.
Teams were averaging almost 7 pass breakups per against Wazoo. Where just schematically and technique-wise, you were just playing off more to. Obviously, you had 2 interceptions,
right?
But there weren't a lot of pass breakups. Do you not want your guys to necessarily be too aggressive in that way, or is it something missed? Or
no, I think you got to have a combination of things, right? When you're playing the air raid, you got to change the windows, you got to change the pictures on the routes and what the quarterback's seeing and things like that. So I think any week, and that's what we got to try to do a better job of, is being able to mix up coverages and obviously whether we're pressed, we're playing man, we're on, we're off, and things like that. You got to be able to change up those windows.
Considering he missed all of last year, what were you expecting out of Mace this season? And just kind of like, is this like at him at 100%, or is he still like taking time to shake off some of those?
Yeah, I think in the last, just in the last 3 weeks or so, every week he's gotten better. You know, and his when he got here, I mean, you could tell instantly that he's got an extremely high football IQ, and he has the capability to learn very, very quickly. And so it's been awesome to be able to have him grow and handle, you know, everything in the package at his position from first down all the way, you know, to obviously third down. And earlier on in the season, we were limiting some of that, but we don't have to limit anything. I mean, he can handle it all now.
What's the quickest way that you pick up that someone just has good football IQ?
Their ability to retain and communicate back with you, I think, is the biggest deal, and how long that takes for them to be able to do that. Because if they could communicate it, then they feel comfortable with it, you know. And then obviously you get them on the field and you see how they react and if they're able to play fast, and all those things showed with him pretty quickly.
Obviously, defensively, you know, Wazoo's the #1 offense in the country.
Right.
But so
yeah.
I'm thinking, as far as the film that is now out on this defense, and you know, now that they've seen what you can do schematically with personnel that is on this team, what's your responsibility here in the back half of the season as far as game adjustments and adjusting what this defense is as offenses now have more tape on you guys?
Yeah, I think there's no question about that, and I think especially when you get to this point in the season, even more so, it still comes about football is a game of fundamentals and technique. And last week we did a much better job with those things in practice, and this week has been even better. So we've got to really get back to, I mean, scheme is scheme. Ultimately, it comes down to how you're executing those techniques and those fundamentals. And obviously, you got to have, you know, you got to be able to mix it up within the scheme with whatever fronts, whatever coverages you're doing. But ultimately, the techniques and fundamentals make that scheme.
Do you foresee any potential changes as far as this kind of back half of the season goes with this defense and where you're at, even if it's minor tweaks here and there?
I think as we go along as the course of the year, I mean, each week there's been some tweaks and stuff that have been implemented into the defense. You know,
you went a lot more 3-3-5 last week, and you'd done the 2-4 deal before on passing situation. Understandably, they were always passing situations last week, but with this week, with these matchups, do you expect to stick with it? How do you think it did, given the passing numbers, which you knew were going to be high? But how do you think
I mean, the passing numbers are always going to be high when you play Washington State. It's It's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's about winning the third downs and winning as many times as you can in the red zone and eliminating touchdowns and forcing them to kick field goals in it. And obviously, if we do a better job there, ending the first half, we got the pick six, and then we win again, and we didn't finish it. But if we finish the first half and we finish the second half, you know, just a little bit better there, then you know we don't have, you know, we're not in that situation there at the end.
When you're looking at that tape of USC, they're a team over the past couple of years that's been a little inconsistent. You know, there's times where they look like a top 5 team. There's other times where they look like a sub 500 team. You know, when you're looking at the tape of them, is that inconsistency from execution on their end, or are teams finding ways to pick spots on them?
You know what? They're extremely talented. They're extremely talented, and just like any other team, I mean, week to week, we can be a different team. You know, it's about how you handle the process, and really for us, that's what we're focused on, is us and how we're handling the process. When we focus on other things and our attention goes elsewhere, that's where we start to slip up. So I'm pretty sure it's probably the same for them. I mean, it's all about how you handle the process each week.
What do you feel like makes this defense so good on third down? Your conversion allowed is pretty good.
You know what? I think it's the ability to get guys in the right positions and mix up some coverage windows like we're talking about. You know, and third downs always obviously start with pressure, being able to pressure and confuse the quarterback. I mean, those are any team's going to have to do that in order to win on third downs.